Well, folks, that was absolutely terrific. What a wonderful selection of music, great cross-section. Hearing wonderful standard march by Sousa. I'll talk more about him and my feelings about the march in a moment. Beautiful sense of playing on Gatlinburg, and lovely, fantastic solo sax section that was just awesome. And wonderful solo playing and ensemble playing all the way through that. That obviously reflected a tremendous amount of work. You guys have logged a lot of time to parody that, and it feels very very authentic. It feels very much from the heart. And I can tell you, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, I think, when they did that custom. It's definitely worthwhile. And then the Gallop was so much fun. You know, I talked with the other group at your school earlier about the distinction between different types of marches. And I thought you guys really captured the excitement and the kind of the thrilling nature of a Gallop and how it should feel different than a Sousa march, which is a little more kind of stately. I'd like to do a little work on the Sousa, if that's okay.
Yep.
So, I'll talk about today. So let's try a couple of things. So I was the former director of the President's Own United States Marine Band, which was actually led by John Philip Sousa once upon a time. Have you talked about the background of this march? Do they know that?
Yeah, we've talked about it. You go ahead, though. It's probably more interesting coming from you.
I don't know about that, but this actually has always been one of my favorite marches.
Yep.
And I did it a whole bunch back in 2023 because that was 100th anniversary of the composition of the march. Sousa wrote when he was inducted into the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, which is known as the Shriners these days. The shrine, it's really built on a lot of concepts that you trace back to the Middle East. which is why this march has a more exotic kind of quality. The fact that it's in a minor key right off the bat, which is quite unusual. The Jingling Johnny, which I'm so happy to see that you guys incorporated into your performance of this. Where did you find your Jingling Johnny?
I had it custom made.
Oh, wow. All right. That is very impressive.
Oh, I guess.
But just a wonderful march. Now, I am going to proselytize here a little bit because my successor, director of the Marine Band, Colonel Jason Fettig, created a series called The Complete Marches of John Philip Sousa, in which he not only recorded the marches in the march style of Sousa, but he's made these editions of the album free of charge. So I don't know if you're aware of those.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. I love Fred Fennell. I had a great pleasure of playing for Fred Fennell and working with him when I was in the Marine Band. And I think he's an incredibly gifted conductor and arranger, editor. I hate his Sousa editions.
Yeah.
And
It take a lot of changing.
that's the thing. There's a lot of Fred Fennell's own personality. Fennell was a percussionist, and so he took a lot of liberties with what he does in the percussion writing. So I always urge people to consult those, the Marine Band series, just because one of the things that people don't always know about Sousa is that when he printed his marches for sale, he didn't include all of the dynamic adjustments and instrumentation changes that he would observe when he performed these marches with his own band. And a lot of people wonder, well, why wouldn't he create these editions to sound exactly the way he wanted the marches to sound? Well, because Sousa was not only a composer, he was a band leader. And so he wanted to make sure that when people came to hear his band, the Sousa band or the Marine Band, play one of his marches, that it didn't sound like any other band playing his march. So these were little secrets that he kept, and he didn't divulge to anyone. It wasn't actually until after Sousa died that some of his musicians came forward and said, okay, so this is what we did when we played his marches. And there are a number of resources that we have that kind of confirm this as well. So it's just good to kind of know about some of this stuff, especially in terms of trying to understand how to play these marches in a way that really reflects the way Sousa would have done it, and also makes the marches sound more interesting. Now, all of that said, I noticed that you made a lot of changes to the Fennell edition in adjusting instrumentation and adjusting dynamics. So I think you are definitely on the right path.
Yes.
It's just that you can save yourself a lot of time just by getting that Marine Band edition, which will just, already has a lot of stuff in there. Just want to do, I know we don't have much time. Where's my timekeeper? Yes? Yep, about 5. Okay, great. So let's do a little bit of this right from the very beginning, please. Love your tempo. I think you're right on 120. It's just got just the right kind of feel. I'll see if I can just get close to that fake tempo. Okay, so this is from the top. A little bit of separation between the dotted quarter and the eighth. That eighth always wants to come just a little bit too soon, so we want to delay that just a bit. Make sure all those quarters have a real clear articulation. One more time, same thing. Improvements. Now, can we sit back on the time a little bit? I don't want the tempo to change, but I want you to delay those notes as much as you can, and especially when we have consecutive quarters. I'm going to talk about that in some other spots. They tend to come a little bit too close together. So thinking think about that space in between the quarters. We try one more time, please. Ready? Now I'm going to talk about something else that's not included in the Sousa edition, and that is what happens between the mezzo forte at the beginning of the first phrase and the fortissimo in the third measure. And I've done this march for many years, and I always felt like, well, it feels like it wants to crescendo through here, right? And in my earlier days as a conductor, I tend to be more of a purist. And then I heard the recording of the Sousa band playing this, and what I heard was a crescendo. So can we try this, please, and allow those first two measures, so measure A and the next measure, to crescendo into the fortissimo, and then we'll come away from that back down to the mezzo forte. So we just try that once to see if that feels like. This is right in the first string, letter H. Ready? affect us. Sometimes, we want to be as exact as we can be when we observe a composer clip music, and other times we need to allow the music to kind of find its own way. And that line so naturally wants to build to the fortissimo. I think it really makes sense to allow that to happen. Now, when we get to measure 11, can I hear more clarity on the eighth notes? I'm sorry, and then as B's, a little bit of space after the time for those who will price the bar lines, and then a little more articulation on the eighth notes, especially those of you at the low brass, and the euphonium has that, but also in the upper woodwinds and the middle winds. So think about a little accent on those eighth notes, please. Can we go 2 measures before B? This is 2 measures before B. Now, this is one of those spots, these 2 measures before the first ending, that always to me feel like they want to run ahead just a little bit. And this is one of the hardest things, especially for young players when trying to kind of capture that march style, is that feeling of keeping things locked in and sitting back on the beat. That's in the Marine Band, we talk about, hey, can we just be more back on the beat? And the tempo doesn't really change. It's just like if you've ever driven the car and you let the emergency brake on a little bit and you're hitting the gas and it's like, why is it the car need to be faster? It's because the emergency brake is on, right? So I want you to play this music like there is a brake just pulling you back a little bit. So, no rushing we have on those quarters. Can we go, please, when on measure 17, so this is 3 measures before the first tempo. 3 before the first tempo. 1, 2, 3. Don't rush, especially getting to that down to the first ending. Often we get to the end of a phrase, we push ever so slightly. So we just want to hold back. One more time, say it's 5. 2, 3. Thank you. Now, can we jump ahead, please, to measure 53. Low brass, this is another one of these spots where we've got a crescendo, we've got the consecutive quarter note, and it just wants to kick off ever so slightly. So I'm going to try this and think about keeping that emergency brake on, without rushing that in any way possible. So we go 4 measures before G, 4 measures before letter G. 1, 2, 3. I'm not giving you much time there. Prepare for that. So starting we're time. 4 measures before G. 1, 2, 3. Again, right at the end of the picture, be careful that doesn't take off as well. One more time. Get 1, 2, 3. Now, something else that I do, it's a little different than the edition you can the printed edition with the Marine Band. Low brass, so we tried this once where measure 53 is in crescendo, but then measure 54 is in decrescendo. So that we're going to start this crescendo, but then we're going to back off into that softer dynamic that we have at letter G. Okay, can we try that once? Starting at the same spot. 1, 2, 3. It's a little bit of a tease, right? We have this sometimes with Sousa marches where eventually that crescendo will end in a louder dynamic, but we want to kind of hint at that, but then kind of pull it back until it's for real, like change that crescendo to the high bar. Good, let's see if there's anything else. Oh, one last request. At letter K, and happens again, I think at letter M, woodwind should get this wonderful 8th note line, right? And this always gets buried in so many performances that I hear. And part of the problem, I think, is that it's written with a crescendo, right? We need to do the opposite. We need to start that 8th note scale with as much sound as you can muster, and then you can back off actually as you get to the top of the line, because those notes are going to come out next, right? So if we try it once, and you get as much sound as you can right there in the downbeat of K, and then you can just back off a little bit when you get to the upper register. Can we start, let's start at letter J, please. Letter J, this is the last time through, letter J with a pickup. 1, 2, 1. think he had a little funky note there in the last one, but just an operator here, no worries there. Wonderful playing, guys. Again, it was such a pleasure to hear you play. I hope you were having fun. Sometimes it's hard to be able to have fun when we're in a setting like this, but the way you play that music, you make it sound like you were having fun. So thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you.